Hoai, a mother who holds her child so tightly afraid that if she lets go, even for a moment, Tony might slip away. And Hung, a quiet father who watches from behind the door, his eyes filled with both love and helplessness. Everything seems peaceful. Until people start to realize Tony, now over 2 years old, has never once said the word mom. His eyes are always searching for something invisible, as if trying to find a way out no one else can see. Why has a silent child stirred up so much debate online? How can so much love from his parents make him feel even more distant? As the day of his upcoming checkup approaches, one question lingers. Will this be the start of his healing journey? Or the moment that exposes a painful truth they've been too afraid to face? From the very first videos of Hoai Ca and Hung, viewers were touched by little Tony, a boy over 2 years old who still hadn't spoken, still clung tightly to his mother's arms. The images of Hoai Ca carrying her son everywhere, spoon-feeding him, never letting him out of her sight, they made people feel both warmth and worry. "Why don't you let him walk and play on his own?" many gently commented, as if trying to remind her. But time went on, and Tony stayed the same. He didn't talk, didn't play by himself, didn't run around. Every time he tried to step down from his mother's arms, she would say, "No, sweetie, it's dirty." The boy was always clean obedient, yet to viewers, his eyes looked sadder, quieter with each video. Someone wrote, "Loving your child too much can sometimes hurt them, you know." People began to realize that Hoai Ca's love had slowly turned into a wall around her son. They felt for her every mother worries, but still couldn't help sighing. One older viewer commented, "I used to be like her. I was so afraid my kid would fall that I never let go." When he finally went to school, all he could do was cry. Watching Tony now feels like watching my own mistake all over again. When the video titled, "Preparing to Take Tony for a Checkup in the City" was posted, the whole community lit up. Hundreds of comments flooded in relief, mixed with concern. "Finally, I was afraid he'd miss his golden window." Another simply said, "I just hope Tony gets to talk, to laugh, to run." No one hated Hoai Ca or Hung. They just hoped the young couple would understand that sometimes too much love can feel like a cage. Children need to fall to stumble, to get dirty, just like young trees need the wind to grow strong. To the viewers, Tony wasn't just a late-talking child. He became a mirror for countless parents who love with fear, forgetting that what a child needs most is the freedom to truly live in the world around them. After the video of Tony's medical visit was posted, the internet erupted in debate. Many people felt sorry for Tony, but others began to criticize Hoai Ca. They said her love had turned into overprotection. In every clip, she was holding Tony at the market during meals, even while talking to Hung. The boy never had a moment to stand on his own, to explore, to fall and learn. "Kids need to fall to learn how to get back up," one frustrated comment read. As viewers kept watching, they noticed that Tony rarely got to experience the outside world. No playing in the dirt, no splashing in puddles, no running with other kids. Every time he reached out to touch something, Hoai Ca would quickly stop him, afraid he'd get dirty, tired, or hurt. Some people started calling it the golden cage where love turns into a prison. One viewer wrote, "Hoai Ca, don't love your child like he's made of porcelain. He's a living soul. He needs freedom, not protection." Another added, "That boy isn't slow. He's trapped. You need to let go a little, and you'll see him change." These weren't cruel words. They came from people who had once watched a child held back by the wrong kind of love. Over time, Hoai Ca became the center of a storm of mixed emotions. Some people empathized with her understanding that mothers naturally worry. Others grew angry, frustrated that she seemed unwilling to change. She loves her son so much, he can't even breathe. One comment said, earning thousands of likes, the constant images of Hoai Ca feeding Tony, holding him as he slept, never letting him out of her arms, made viewers feel suffocated for the boy. They began to plead, let him walk, let him talk. Don't be afraid of him crying or getting dirty. Because everyone knows a child cannot grow up inside an adult's fear, and so love, the purest thing of all, unintentionally became a chain. No one doubted that Hoai Ca was a good mother. In fact, it was because she cared too much that she ended up taking away Tony's chance to grow on his own. Viewers felt anger, compassion, and guilt all at once. Because in Hoai Ca's story, they saw themselves parents who once held their children too tightly, only to realize that sometimes you have to let go for them to truly fly. If Hoai Ca was caught in a storm of love and fear, then Hung was the quiet one standing on the outside, so silent that it made viewers uneasy. In the videos, he often appeared gentle and reserved, sometimes smiling softly at his wife and child, or tidying up in the background, rarely showing emotion. But it was that silence that left people unsettled. Why doesn't he say anything? Can't he see what his child needs? In one clip, Hoai Ca was spoon-feeding Tony while filming. Tony pressed his lips together and turned away. Instead of letting him hold the spoon himself, she kept trying to feed him. Hung sat beside them, just watching quietly, before letting out a sigh. Viewers could feel the weight of that moment. A father should be a pillar. He needs to know when to step in, one person wrote. Hung, your silence is the same as agreeing with what's wrong. Those words weren't meant to attack him, but to wake him up. People understood that Hung loved his wife and son, but love also requires action. A father who stays silent in the face of suffocating care only builds another wall around his child. The more people watched, the more they noticed the quiet distance between the couple. Hoai Ca raised their son out of fear and instinct, while Hung simply observed, enduring, not opposing, but also not helping to change anything. That silence became a crack, slowly widening, and viewers started to worry, not only for Tony, but for the entire family. One comment read, Hung, your wife is exhausted. You can't just stand by. Hundreds agreed. Everyone knew a child doesn't just need a mother's love. They need a father's strength too. Someone who dares to let them fall, to let them walk, talk, and grow on their own. When Hoai Ca announced she would take Tony for a medical evaluation, viewers felt relieved, but still anxious. They weren't just hoping for progress from Tony. They wanted to see Hung step in. They wanted to see a father holding his child's hand on the way to the clinic, not following behind like a shadow. At that point, this story was no longer just internet content. It had become a mirror, reflecting thousands of young families, where mothers are consumed by fear and responsibility, and fathers retreat into silence. Both forget that children don't only need love, they need balance, freedom, and the presence of both parents. And so beneath every video, among the usual well wishes, one message began to echo: Tony will speak, when both his parents learned to listen. When Hoai Ca posted the final video before taking Tony for his checkup, the comment section was flooded with messages of hope. Viewers were no longer angry or judgmental like before. They had gone through every emotion, compassion, worry, frustration, and now all that was left was hope. All that matters is that Tony gets better, learns to talk, and smiles again. One person wrote, followed by hundreds of red heart emojis. The scene of Hoai Ca packing her son's things left many people quiet. She carefully folded each tiny outfit, checked his milk and towels, then turned to remind Hung, "Don't forget the medical records, okay?" Tony stayed silent, looking around as if trying to make sense of what was happening. In that moment, viewers realized Tony didn't need anything grand. He just needed his parents to understand that he wanted freedom, a chance to be himself. The comments were filled with genuine hope. "I just wish they'll listen to the doctors this time, so Tony can start connecting with the world." Another wrote, "If you really love him, let him live like a child." The tone was no longer harsh. It had softened, becoming heartfelt and sincere, like the voices of people who shared the same worry. Some viewers began sharing their own stories. Parents who once held their children too tightly, who were so afraid of the world that they ended up isolating them within their own love. They admitted it took years to understand. Love isn't about holding on. It's about letting go. Amid all those emotions, one message started to emerge. Love without understanding can become a chain, and silence without action can turn into quiet pain. People hoped that Hoai Ca would learn to let go, that Hung would learn to speak up, and that Tony would finally get to run on the grass, fall down, laugh, and call out dad or mom with that pure, innocent voice of childhood. No one wished for anything more. They just wanted him to live a real childhood, simple but complete. At the end of the video, the comments were filled with emotion. Every child is a world of their own. Don't lock that world away out of fear. Thank you, Tony, for helping us reflect on how we love our own children. And maybe that was the most precious thing this whole journey brought, not just for Hoai Ca and Hung's small family, but for every parent watching quietly, learning what it truly means to love.